Welcome to another exciting episode of Vastly Sage. My name is Amanda Dambuza. Today we talk about evolution and future careers. And I've got all-round media sweetheart, Ayanda Thabethe. How are you, sweetheart?
I am good. I think you should introduce me all the time. All-round media sweetheart, she calls me. Yay, thank you.
But you really are.
Thank you.
You know you are absolutely adored.
Thank you.
By me, first and foremost.
Yes,
and I'm
we
sure the world
fangirl over each other all the time.
You just got back from vacation?
Yes,
How are you
I
feeling?
absolutely enjoyed it. I find that I always need to escape all the
Yes.
time. I need to just find my grounding,
Yeah.
find my place of serenity, and just be at peace with myself, peace with my goals, with my life, where I'm going.
Yes.
And so I take those moments quite seriously, and so I vacation quite a bit.
Well, I know, because I'm sitting here thinking I need another
I need
vacation,
another one.
and you're already on like 6th, I think. or
Listen, I
something.
think you and I live on vacation, so it's okay. We are even.
I work for vacations, to be
Yes.
honest. So tell me, you've been doing such amazing things. But before we get to that, by the way, I love your digital twin. I think she's like
Ayanda.
a copy of you. Ayanda is like so beautiful.
Thank
Often, actually, I'm not sure if I'm looking, like if I don't look at the name,
Properly.
I'm not sure, is it you or her?
I remember you actually once made a comment like that. She was just like, oh my God, this is confusing me.
But before we get to that, you were in corporate before. Tell me
Yes.
about that transition. Tell me about your journey.
Yeah, my journey is quite an evolving one.
Yes.
And I love the topic because it really speaks to just who I am, where I've been and where I'm
Yes.
going. And for me, my journey really started in varsity. I chose to study marketing, and I
Yes.
did an honors degree in marketing as well. And I decided to get into corporate first before I could explore every other talent that I had.
Yes.
And that's because I just always wanted to have a solid grounding. And I started off as a sales rep
Yes.
at Johnson & Johnson. I was
Hey.
selling medical devices and diagnostics. And the sisters in the theater, Betty, you're so beautiful, Funanda, you know?
I'm sure your sales were through the roof.
You
so
know,
I'm
my
sure
sales are good. We can argue about what caused that. And from there, I moved into pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
But my ultimate aim and what I've always wanted to achieve was to be in the fast-moving consumer goods
Okay.
industry. And so after all my tenure in sales, I decided to then get into FMCG.
FMCG, yes.
And I
yes.
joined L'Oreal, and I was a junior brand manager because in sales, as much as I was a senior, I hadn't
Yes.
really explored the marketing part of my degree.
I see.
So then I took a salary cut. Sometimes I always say, sometimes you have to step back in order to move
Yeah.
forward
Yeah,
and make those
absolutely.
sacrifices.
Yes.
So I got into L'Oreal. I became a junior brand manager. After only a year being there, I became a brand manager.
Nice.
And I absolutely loved it.
Yes.
And but after that, like during my corporate career, I always wanted to entertain my other talents.
Yes.
And I always knew that modeling and being part of this crazy entertainment
Lights,
industry,
camera, action.
lights, camera, action, was absolutely vital to
Yes,
me, you know,
yes.
because it was fun. It was a passion point. So during my lunch breaks, I would literally go and do an audition.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
if I got the audition, I'd take leave. It could be sick leave. It
Yes.
could be other kind of leave. And I'd literally take leave in order to
Yes,
to
yes.
satisfy this passion. And it got to a point where my passion point actually became something that
The
was
thing.
generating income. And I
Yes.
always advise young people to actually, if you have a stable job, especially in these trying and crazy
Yes.
times,
Yeah.
to stick to it while building something
Of
else so
course,
that you
yes.
don't just start from nothing, because sometimes it can be very, very
So
hard.
I don't even put you in the category of influencer in the traditional or in the olden sense of what an influencer is. You have purposefully been quite strategic about every move you make. First of all, I mean, you are educated, so you're not just a pretty face. Okay, please,
Please note.
please note. And I think though there's a big misconception around people in the public eye who are incredibly beautiful physically, and people don't always equate that you are actually a whole human being.
Yes,
You've got
100%.
you've got dreams, you've got aspirations beyond just the lights, camera, and action. Where did you become deliberate about where you were headed with your career from a young age, and what drove that?
I think you're quite right to say that people don't expect it. I remember when I was in high school, I wrote a poem that says, "Who cares to peel the layers of a beautiful girl?"
Yes.
Because there's so many layers to
Nice.
every human, you know.
Yes.
I think also my mom as though she was a nurse, but
Yes.
she did so many other things. And I always believed that women are multifaceted beings, and you
Yes.
could be so many things at once. And I never wanted to put myself in one box.
In a box,
but
yes.
I wanted my progression to be measurable.
Yes.
I wanted to be deliberate, and I just wanted a trail of excellence.
Yes,
Wherever
yes.
I am, I wanted to have that trail of excellence. So it was very important for me to showcase that from early on.
I want to stick to that, because a lot of and I mean this world of Instagram, which I made the big mistake of pressing that explore button one day, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that button, and I see all of these things that are just,
And it's hectic.
It's hectic, but it's so glamorous. And I look at children, to me, I mean, young girls who are like 24, 23 years old, with absolutely fantastically dripping lifestyles. But when you look at exactly what they do, it
You're not
doesn't match
sure.
exactly that. So I think that there's an opportunity to actually, showcase to these young people that, yeah, be beautiful, because that's your God-given right to be. But you should be about sustainability, and I think that is what I'm sensing with you and all of your initiatives, and your decidedness that yes, of course, I want people to know that I'm more than just a pretty face. So I'm gonna be in everything. I'm gonna do what needs to be done to showcase that. But I think you are talking about sustainability and well into, beyond this public profile. Who is there and what are your dreams and ambitions? And by the way, pretty girls have dreams and ambitions too. And I think that's the message that you are getting across so well. So
Thank you.
what is that driving force? What is that every day where you just like, because when we were chatting, you said to me, you know what, I'm a forever evolving human being.
Yeah.
What is driving that evolution?
I think I just have points to prove to myself.
Yeah.
I think there's a journey that I want to travel, and I want to feel like when I've reached the end of that journey, I've emptied out every
Everything.
ounce
Yes.
of my talent, every ounce of who I thought that I could be.
Yes.
I don't want to feel like I wasted a lifetime. And I want my life to have meant something,
Yes,
to have
yes.
inspired people. And I wake up with that. I feel like as much as I'm in this space, I have a responsibility towards people that are looking at me to say,
Yes.
how did you do it? To have
Yeah.
a traceable journey
Yeah.
that they can look at and say, oh, I can't do this because she did this.
Yes,
And it's not
yes.
to say that my journey is the blueprint
Of
how it
course.
should be done, but if I can give people a sense of an idea
Yes.
of what kind of
What it
journey you can
takes.
take and
Yeah.
what it takes
Yeah.
to get to where I've managed to reach, then
Yes.
I would really love to be a part of that.
And you've enjoyed your journey in the public eye so far?
Yeah, I have. I have. But I do feel like I'm coming towards another part of my life now.
Yes.
I've enjoyed it. When I was in corporate, it's all I could think about. I
Yeah.
was obsessing over it.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it count. And for me, it's only taken 6 years, hey, because I
Yes.
left corporate in 2015. And so it's only taken 6 years. And I always attribute that to the fact that I was educated about brand development and
Yes.
brand management.
Yes.
So when I got into the space, I got in from a different perspective.
Yes,
where
yes.
instead of marketing products, I was
Yes.
marketing myself. And I think that's what made my brand grow so much in this short space of time. And I've enjoyed it. I love the
Yes.
perks that come with it.
Of course.
But it also comes with a lot as well that is
How
not
do you-
as positive.
How do
So-
you handle that? I want to know that. I mean, I can tell you. I
Yeah.
mean, I enjoy Instagram. I just use it for fun and to deliver whatever message I want to deliver.
Yes.
But you do get the odd person who's like, just brings negativity on your feed. And I'm all about positivity. So
Positivity.
I can tell you that I clap back. And I
Yes.
clap back hard.
I would not want to be on your wrong side, trust me.
And I block
Yes.
you and your mother and your grandmother and
too.
your pet and your
That's one of the strategies, honestly, is
Yeah.
to block negative energy and to identify that space as
Yes.
your space.
Yes.
And that means that if this is my space, then my rules apply.
Yes.
And how I want to navigate this space is is up to me. It's my prerogative. So you have to play within my rules.
Yes,
but
yes.
I think where I was quite lucky is that I actually didn't get into entertainment when I was young. I got into entertainment when I was about 28.
Yeah.
And I had a full understanding and knowledge of who
I
I am,
yes.
comfortable in my skin,
yes.
very deliberate about the fact that this is a career and not for fun.
Yes.
Of course, you have fun on the way,
Yeah,
but it was deliberate that this is a career and what I want out of it.
Yes.
So I think it cut out a lot of riffraff from that on. And I think surrounding yourself with good people that have known you for a long time, that are your support system,
keep you
grounded,
that
anchor you, that ground you.
You're quite close to your sister.
I'm very close to my sister. She's my best friend.
Oh.
You know, at some point my sister was my PA.
Oh yes.
She progressed to doing amazing and great things. I'm so proud of her. And those are the things that keep me grounded, and my goals and my dreams. And also I feel like what I've just said is that I feel really accountable to people that look up to me, and I want to show them that it can be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the business brains behind you.
Yes.
Because I think that is probably something that people aren't privy to, because actually you are quite a private person in as much as you are in the public and in the limelight. How do you strike that balance? I think I'm quite curious about that first before we get into the business part of
the
it.
privacy issue.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I've evolved to be even more private now. I think when I was younger, I was a little bit more open because I approached the world from a place of openness and love.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the world.
And that's what you would receive
back. And that's what I would receive back. And as I grew up in the industry, I would see that, you know what, people are not as positive and as loving and as receiving. And so I started to keep what I felt was dear and near to me, very close to my heart. So I strike the part. If it feels right and I want to share it, it's just a feeling thing. If it feels right, if I want to do it, then I do it. But if I feel like I'm hesitant or I have to think about it, then maybe it's not a good thing to share.
But that's why I was so keen to have you come and talk to me, because I watch you and I watch what you're about, and I can tell the difference, right? And when I say the difference, I can tell that you've got a public persona, but then you also have a private persona, like all of us do, to be honest. But what I really wanted our viewers to have is this other side of you that they don't know about.
They don't know.
because then what it does is that it empowers the next young woman coming up, looking at your path and thinking, oh my gosh, actually, I never thought about what happens beyond the public life, you know, and being grounded in education and the right people around you, and having that center, you know, and being, you know, say with a strong head on your shoulders is ultimately what ensures longevity and sustainability.
100%.
And you are going into full-on business. Firstly, let's talk about your digital twin, please.
Yes, Ayanda.
Ayanda, how did that come about?
You know, we were in full lockdown, and I have a team that I work with at Sanal, but they also have another digital twin called Shudu that they had created. And we thought, imagine doing the same thing, because they had garnered so much support from brands and people alike. And imagine having that support backed by a celebrity or an influential figure. And in the time of lockdown, you can't travel. So imagine your twin traveling for you. Traveling to another country, exploring. And that has actually happened. There are digital twins that have presented red carpets. There are digital twins that have created their own lives. Paris Hilton, has her own digital twin that lives the life that she would, so that she can give people exposure to her life without it being her on that.
I saw the other day, it was an NFTs discussion, so non-fungible tokens. The it thing.
It's one of my interests right now. It's a big thing. I love it.
So I saw Sophie. Sophie is a digital, let me call it a character at this point in time. And she had painted, and her painting sold for $700,000 or something like that.
Insane.
And okay, let's put it simple. It's a robot painting something, and it gets so expensive. And it was it 700,000?
Because it's one of a kind.
Yeah, it was like some ridiculous amount, in fact. But the conversation was that's where the future is going.
100%.
So is this what you
And
have in mind
crazy.
to be rich?
Yeah, it's one of my rich points. If somebody can just hire Ayanda, I'll be very happy.
I'll relax.
I'll relax and let her do all the work. But you know what? It's such an employment factor because there's so much behind Ayanda that makes her that.
Yes,
Digital characters as well as just artificial intelligence is such a big thing globally. I feel like in Africa we're not embracing it enough, and we still don't quite understand. Look, it is still an industry that's evolving, that people are learning as it goes, and people are really trying to understand it. But we are at the cusp of something that is new, and something that's going to change the way we interact.
Right.
I also feel like for celebrities and for influential figures, it's an additional income point because it's somebody else that is still you in a sense, but that can do so much more in the digital world
and
that
in fact,
you can't do.
She could even be more vulnerable than you.
100%,
right?
Because there's some things I can't say as Ayanda, but she can say because she's a digital twin, and who's going to say, I'm gonna
be looking out on all her posts. I'm gonna be like, what did she say today?
What did she say? In fact, Ayanda and I actually have our first booking in September, where she's going to do a digital projection and presentation, and I'll be part of it, interacting with her, and it's part of Saika, which is insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really talking to the change that's coming, to the change that we're in, and just to the different environments that we're experiencing at this point in time.
I love how you've embraced technology seeing it as the future.
Yeah.
And we talk about, how we can evolve from where we used to be. I mean, you evolved from corporate to a public figure, entertainment personality, and now you're like full on into
digital
tech business, digital, and I think that is so admirable.
Thank you.
How do you stay focused? Because I think that's one of the biggest things in the world that we live in is distractions.
Yeah.
And there's this constant pull, pulling you to other directions. And you did say that, I mean, you do travel to get yourself just recentered and grounded and etc. But how do you remain razor sharp and focused on your vision, and because you seem like you have a very clear vision, and how do you just ensure that you don't get pulled away from that and keep at it?
One of the principles that I've adopted, and I adopted this over the years because I noticed that the world that I'm in is full of noise, and I can get distracted very easily. You go onto Instagram, you see people doing things, and you feel like you're not doing enough. So one of the things that I adopted was every year, in the beginning of the year, I usually take a 21-day fast. And in that fast and in that period of prayer, in that period of just me being with myself and my God, I write down my goals. And I call them my vision. I call my vision prayers because that is my prayer for the year in the form of what I want to do. And I write them down. And I think about them, I challenge them, I think about why is it that I want to do this, and then I come out of that space knowing exactly what I want to achieve in the year. So when I look at other people and I feel pressured, I look back, I come back to my things, and I'm like, where am I in my own things, in my own vision, in my own direction? And that brings me back to say, some other person might have achieved something that's bigger than you or whatever, but that was never your plan.
Correct.
This is your plan. This is where you're going, and you need to measure yourself against yourself. And I've always said my biggest competition is me, because I'm the only person that can say whether or not I've worked hard enough to achieve my goals, and to and to really be steady in the direction that I'm taking. I can't lie to myself. I know exactly if I've worked hard, if I've gone after my dreams. So that's part of my process.
Do you find that being on a public platform, you had to adopt a certain picture of Ayanda versus who you are in? Because all the things that you're saying to me now, I'm like, girl, I'm like, who are you? do you feel like you've had to hold back on your depth and that, because I mean, you are highly spiritual.
Yes, very.
And the way you see your vision panning out is absolutely grounded in spirituality. But that and what you project on a public platform are not the same things. Do you find that you've had to kind of like do the business of Ayanda and kind
separate
of, yeah?
it. Yeah, you know, it speaks to the point that when I started off in the industry, I was very open.
Yes.
I remember I still had a Facebook page, and I put all my poems on Facebook.
Yes.
And you know what? I had my spiritual readings, and I'd share them. I don't know what it was, but as I grew older and I was exposed to so much, and also sometimes I felt like people were portraying things that they weren't, and then it clashed, and I just felt like, let me just draw back and live in the world of perceptions, because the world that we live in is a world of perceptions. I want to sell maybe beauty, fashion, this and that, and what speaks to that, and that's what I'm going to put out. Everything that is me, that I hold dear, I can share with my friends, I can share with my family. It's not to say sometimes when I have that inspirational moment, and I remember just the other day, I went online and I said, guys, I actually have experience across 3 different industries. So if you want to ask me any questions, actually ask me about that. You know, I actually am very open to answering those type of questions. But it comes once in a while where I feel like I really am in a space to pour out. I also don't want to do it because I have to do it. And so I've separated that in terms of, if this is achieving my business objectives at this moment, let me do that. But if I feel an ounce of positivity that I want to share at that point in time, I'll gladly do so.
And if you were not, if your livelihood wasn't dependent on perception. So let's talk about the 2 separate worlds. In fact, it's 3 separate worlds now, because you also have a digital world. So if your livelihood was not dependent on perception, would you have still done that? Would you have still separated or?
No, I wouldn't. You know, I love to share more of myself. But I feel like
I think there's so much to share of yourself.
I think I'm going to get to that when I'm a billionaire or something.
Because then you
when
don't
I'm
care.
like, listen,
I don't care.
Because, you know, it's such a sensitive world that we live in also. And we can't express ourselves. I always say, in terms of our freedom of speech, is it really free?
Yeah.
Especially when you're dependent on brands, on this. You can't be as free as possible. You have to be socially responsible. You have to consider the greater majority. It's not all about your perceptions. And that is the trade-off you take when you become a personality and a brand, unfortunately. But I think if I had all the money in the world,
you'd be like,
I would let it loose.
I said this on my live the other day. I'm like, if I depended on people's perceptions, I'd be so broke.
It's true.
But people's opinions, I literally don't care.
Yes, and it's a good way to live.
Yeah, but I also think that, I mean, the truth is that I do care. It's not that I don't care, but it doesn't affect my livelihood. Do you get what I mean? But the world that I think we are evolving to, and you epitomize that so much, is a world where people have had a platform to build their brand.
Yeah.
It's okay, what's the next thing for my brand? You know, and I think getting into the forefront of digital and that tech world that is forever evolving, but using what you know, because you are using your strengths to take into a world that someone will typically say, oh, but tech, you know, AI, so how do you bring brand and that glitz of it? Because listen, Ayanda is hot and glitzy.
She's hot.
Girl is like, what other things are you busy with?
I want to start being in a position where I own the value chain of what I'm doing. It's so important to me to be somebody who is representing brands that I own, that I'm a part of, that I understand from the back end right through to selling it. And luckily, I do have that experience of launching brands into the country and selling them successfully. But now I want that to be my own.
Nice.
I'm currently busy with 3 exciting projects. Of brands that I will be a part owner of, and I'm very, very excited about that journey. And it is, I think, the really start of my entrepreneurship journey properly. And really just, I want to do it well, which is why I've also chosen to study as well, to just make sure that I run businesses that are sustainable and that are progressive, and that stand for something.
You're very smart.
Thank you.
You really are.
Thank you. You didn't know that. I'm surprising you.
I'm like,
this girl. I've been sleeping on this brain.
But you see, I I have not been sleeping on
This
you.
is
That's
true.
why
You
are
actually
here.
haven't. You haven't. And you know what? When you tell me all the things that you say about myself, I actually am so surprised at how observant you are. Because it's so easy to look at the surface and then say, oh, okay. But I feel like you've really peeled a lot of my layers, and I'm very grateful.
See, that poem
yes,
is coming in handy.
I need to come back.
No, I really think it was important for us to sit down and have this chat and just expose a side of you to people, because so many young people look up to you. You are a role model for so many of them. But what I never want is young people having just one side of a person, because then they're not falling in love with the whole human being, you know. And I fully appreciate, though, that, you know, you move into your own shell at some point, because when it doesn't feel safe to do something, then you shouldn't do it anyway. So I love that you've actually listened to your own gut, to actually probably God talking to you. Do you feel like you're guided by God?
Oh my God, 100%. My whole life is about being guided by God.
Yeah.
Every step that has happened in my life, I can say that I have been a part of a journey that is really bigger than myself.
Yeah.
Even now, I feel like the progression towards everything that I'm doing is really guided by God and guided by Him. And I think that's why it's a success, and that's why it's organic, because it's who I am meant to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. Celebrity game night.
Celebrity
I love it.
game
I think you should invite me on one of these shows.
You really should come. I'm gonna put you
I think
forward.
it's so much
I think
fun.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's so much fun. And it came at a point where it was COVID, it was very morbid, but it was something that brought families together and just made everyone laugh, which is why I love it.
Nothing serious, just
games
and
games
like
and
absolute stupidity.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
It's the worst, because I think the two of you are so competitive.
Yes. Oh my God.
But I think you are extremely competitive.
You know, the guests on the show, when they go, they're just like, Ayanda, is this you? Are you this competitive? Because every time we finish a game, I'm just like, okay, cool, let's paddle. Let me tell you the next strategy for this game. And people are just like, who's this girl? I'm very competitive.
But I think what that shows, and just this conversation alone unlocks the strategist that you are. You know, and it shows in everything that you're doing, and I am so proud of your work. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
You are evolving, and you are going to get exactly where you need to go to. And what will that success look like for you?
It's a world that I cannot wait to be a part of, but I'm enjoying the journey as well with its ups and downs. I think success means that I obviously own my time and own the projects and really be a part of things that are in my heart, that matter, that have a social impact, that is beyond myself. One of the projects that I can talk about that I'm doing is I'm creating a career mapping tool, and I believe that it's going to change the face of career mapping in the country.
Wow.
And the reason I decided to do something like that was because when I was younger, I went to a rural school, a black girls only school. There was no white people, no color, nobody. So just black girls doing their thing. And we didn't have career days. We didn't have people coming to us. And there was a lady that came to our school, and she was doing marketing and communications, and I identified with her, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I need to be doing. That feels
right.
Yes, and that's how I chose my career. And so I've incorporated that experience that I felt in that moment into this app, and I think a lot of students are going to benefit from it. So mine is to be in a position one day where my career and my business objectives also have a really positive social impact. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I adored you, but now I just
love
you.
I love you.
That is amazing. I can't wait to see that, because I really
Yeah.
think that's going to make such a big difference. And I love that, though, you are using your own comfort level and what you believe you'll have the highest impact on.
Yes.
And that is truly the mark of a strategist. And you must never change that. But I think it's too late for that. You'll never change.
I think it's quite concrete now.
I think you're set on a very clear vision for your life.
I've actually always said that the reason I don't, and this is for young girls that are out there, is that it's, for me, I value education now. And then I even said on one of my tweets, I'm very biased because I believe in education. And I said, the reason I don't compete with other celebrities, I don't compete with anyone that is doing is because I know that if things went bad in my celebrity, I'll just dust off my degrees
exactly.
and go back and
polish
have a
up
job.
your CV.
You know what I mean?
Good.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
So it puts me in a place where I'm very selective about the brands that I work with.
Yeah.
I'm very selective about the things that I get involved in. So I don't do it because I have to do it, or because I have a grounding. And
but you know, I'm always asking you, are you making
strategy.
money? Are they paying you?
That is Amanda's number one question. Are you making money? Are they paying you? Yes. So it's very important for me, that wealth factor. I tell people that after 2 years, I paid off my house.
Nice.
And it was important because I wanted to show young girls that if you're in a space like this that is so volatile, you have to secure yourself.
Absolutely.
So those are kind of the decisions that I make too.
I think these are messages you should be getting out more and more.
I know. I need to find a way to do it. Yeah.
I'm glad you did it here.
Yeah.
Because I think just before we wrap up the conversation, what are let's call it the 3 things that you would like to leave every single person watching this with? Let's start off with, what is that one thing that people don't know about you that you would like them to know?
That I'd like them to know. I almost said I'm very competitive, but I think you guys all know that.
We know that.
The one thing that I think people should know about me is that, maybe it came out in this interview, is that I'm a very deliberate person.
Yes.
Everything that I do is something that I've thought about a lot.
Yes.
Something that's calculated and something that has a greater purpose.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what would you like them to take away from just your journey? Because I mean, it's really been remarkable what you've been able to do, and for me, it shows what you can achieve with focus.
Yeah.
But it also takes me back to, parents, when they always say you must always have something to fall back on. You know?
Yes. And that was my mom's exact words.
And I think you are a typical example of that. Whatever passions you pursue, first of all, you must be able to commercialize them.
100%.
Which I think is grounded in your corporate experience, first and foremost, how to monetize brands and how to position brands. And that has served you so well.
100%.
But for you, that was also just another platform to get to your next. People do tend to, especially younger people, they get that little bit of money and then they chill. They're in the comfort zone, and they think they'll be pretty forever.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to let's pick a segment and say, upcoming people, young people who are looking at you, who idolize you, and they say, oh my gosh, I wish I was like Ayanda, or I've enjoyed her journey, I wish I could have learned this and this. What are those just 3 things that you can impart on them as your closing remarks?
As my closing remarks, I think the biggest thing that has served me very well, that has served my journey, is something that people take for granted, because it's something so easy to say. And it's just knowing yourself.
Yes.
And people think that's an easy thing. That is a journey on its own. Knowing yourself, mastering yourself.
It takes a lot of inner work.
It takes a lot.
Sitting in there and checking in what's in there and how is it showing up.
Yes. So for me, knowing yourself, knowing what you stand for, because there's this quote that says, when you don't know what you stand for, you fall for everything. Right?
Yeah.
And for me, the reason I haven't fallen to that is really because I've taken the time to do the inner work, to look inwardly and to look forward into who that person is. And I've taken that person and I've embedded that person in everything that I'm a part of. And that's why I can look back and be proud of my journey, because I know that who I am, who I stand for today, is threaded in the journey and the career that I have embarked on. So I think know yourself. I think enjoy your life, enjoy the journey. It comes with ups and downs. Life is not fabulous all the time. Life can be hard. Life can be tough. And but I think that if you're enjoying the journey, if you find bits and pieces in between that make you laugh, that feed your soul, do that and do it well. And
it's funny how you end up with more of those. The more you do them,
the more you do them, the more you get. And I always say that people don't plan their fun. You actually have to plan it. You have to plan. This week I need to do this and that. You have to plan your fun. It just doesn't happen. I find that a lot of people wait for life to plan their fun, and then people think life is so miserable. Why is life fun for other people? But you have to plan your fun so that you enjoy moments in the journey. And then I think it's to just trust the process, trust what's coming, and believe in yourself. Look at your goals. trust them, trust what made you write them down, and believe that you are capable of achieving them.
And you deserve them.
You deserve them.
Oh, you're just a cutie. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. This was such a delight.
Oh, we could actually do this for like hours on end.
Hey? Do you guys want us to carry on? I'm joking. Thank you so much.
I really think that this was such an amazing conversation because we've just unlocked Ayanda.
Yes.
Like we've unlocked the depth,
the
essence of who you are and the depth of it. And I just think it's beautiful. I have enjoyed this chat. I have enjoyed getting to know you more.
Thank you.
And now that I know,
you're like, oh.
Exactly.
I love you. I've always admired you. And I actually say that I don't do a lot of interviews because I always want to have interviews when I have something to say.
Yes.
But when you invited me, I was like, who says no to Ayanda? Like, really? And you're just such a woman of substance. You have literally come into our lives like a bang. Like, where did she come from? And you have made such impact in our lives that we can only just be so grateful to share your presence.
Oh, thank you so much. I love it. This was another amazing episode of Vastly Sage with Ayanda Thabethe. What a fantastic woman. Honestly, I am blown away. And to be honest, I have nothing further to add. I hope you've taken so much out of it, as I have, and I like it when she says you must plan your fun. I'm a fun person, and planning your fun is the thing I have absolutely taken away as well. And you know what? Be deliberate about your life and not leave anything to chance. And if that message wasn't clear today, I don't know what was. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do watch it over and over again. Until next time, thank you for joining in.